Welcome to partialarc.com. Don't do that.
In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. And a lot of weird shit. Roll to seize!
Welcome to Roll to Seize. This is episode 28. I'm your host, Jay Jones, and I'm joined by my co-host and Warhammer enthusiast, Andrew Dickinger.
Hey out there, everybody.
Guys, it is that spooky time of year, and it doesn't get much spookier than a mysterious library floating in the middle of the webway?
With some holiday called Hulaween?
Hulaween, yeah, and there are literally clowns around every corner, constantly.
Yeah, I mean, they were already scary to begin with.
Yeah, they
were. Now
were.
they're, being way creepier.
Yeah, but hey, I'm pretty excited because we were able to bring some festivities back from Kamarog to the Brown Library. We actually set up some of these pumpkins?
Pumpkin people?
Pumpkin people all around the Brown Library.
Yeah, I mean, how many of their children did you eat, Jay?
Oh, I ate quite a few of them. I mean, the insides of these pumpkin people, let me tell you, real delicious. A little bit of salt, a little bit of roasting. They are amazing. And
monster.
I'm putting them in everything. I'm putting them in my coffee. I'm putting them in pie. They're just delicious.
You mean this pumpkin spice?
Yeah, it's almost like some say if you control the spice,
You control the galaxy?
yes. Anyways, guys, Warhammer 40k universe is getting crazier and expanding, and we're even hearing more rumors out there as this year is rolling on.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because it's, they've been talking about End Times being the 8th edition launch, essentially, just like they did for Age of Sigmar, and we just saw that Magnus the Red, the Primarch of the Thousand Sons, formerly I think they were called the Scarab Warriors but
that's
in
right.
Heresy, but what are the Thousand Sons now? Their Demon Primarch is a model in 40k, apparently?
Yeah.
I mean, that just links me to one thing, Jay. I see a Primarch coming back, and I'm like, yeah, it's End Times.
It's End Times, for sure. And I mean, Thousand Sun news is amazing. And I mean, there was that little bit of tidbit a few weeks ago in that one video where they said Sisters of Battle are getting a plastic kit.
I mean, I really hope that was an epic troll.
I really don't think it's a troll, because that would be so mean of Games Workshop to just be like, just kidding.
Rubbing in the salt in the wound.
That would be just like them coming out like Chaos Space Marines new codex. Just kidding.
Oh,
Bye.
The rage that would happen.
Rage. I think the Eye of Terror would expand and just absorb all of the other planets. And the thing is, with End Times coming up, there's a lot of rumors going around now the closer we get, because they're actually looking at releasing what is almost completely confirmed now to be 8th edition in Q2 of 2017. It's a weird thing to label around this time, since we are in the 41st millennium, but 2017's been being thrown around quite a bit.
Yeah,
but,
what is that?
And I don't know what a Q2 is, but regardless, it looks like 8th edition is coming out pretty soon, and the rumors are that things are actually going to start consolidating. We might be seeing less multiple codexes in one giant tome, more or less.
Now, a lot of you automatically are going to be super apprehensive to it, and because if it has any semblance to Age of Sigmar at all, then people are going to be really upset. Now, I'll tell you, Age of Sigmar, guys, is actually pretty darn fun.
It's actually really fun. And here's the thing. We're not saying that 40k should be the same rules of Age of Sigmar.
No, I mean, and it just can't be.
But one thing that is a pretty great takeaway, and if this is some good news, is that all of the books and a lot of the information on the codexes will actually be out there for free, or at least consolidated into an easy purchase.
Yeah, see, I feel like it's going to be like this, Jay. I feel like that all of the units will have War Scrolls just like they have now. This is assuming they go full on Age of Sigmar, not just little pieces. You get War Scrolls for the units. Mm-hmm. This allows you to see what things do without having to buy a $50 book.
Which would be nice.
Which would be, Jay and I were actually just discussing this, and we think this would actually boost sales for models, not only because they're giving the new save your money starter kits, but also if you can see what things do without having to pirate a book or something like that.
Yeah, because that's the thing. If you want to be interested and check out another army, you got to hope your friend has the codex, or you can go to a game store and maybe take a look at it. But if all of the rules are available for all the different armies, I don't know, that's more of an incentive for me to go out there and be like, ooh, this army's really cool, or ooh, these units are really awesome.
So I feel like what they do with like the CAD and the Allied detachment will be in the core book. Well, they'll have the core books for all of the points for things and all of the core rules for all of the armies in the books for each individual faction, what chaos or destruction, or if they do that like Age of Sigmar. But I think the reason they'll still have separate books is for army factions and formations. Basically like what they did with the Beastclaw Raider book or the Iron Jaws book, stuff like that.
Or any of the other smaller sub-factions. They'll always have those specific books because it's always nice to get those specific fluff pieces that you really like, or a lot of those very individualized formations.
Exactly.
But the bigger stuff like the points and just the broader general information on the units is probably going to be in a bigger overall tome.
And think about it like this. If you're not spending $50 or whatever on that book for each individual codex, if you have all of these different armies, that's going towards more models.
Which is awesome.
I mean,
and
that's fantastic.
That means you're going to get to field more fun and different armies on the table, that would be really exciting. So if there's anything they pull from Age of Sigmar is how they do their books, look, that's a huge money saver for all of us who love 40K and love trying a lot of different armies, because it's tough for Andrew and I sometimes to just kind of stick with we both don't just have one army. I mean, that might be a good example already. I mean, it would be great to have that kind of opportunity to see what else is out there without having to buy all those books.
Exactly. Now, with regards to the background of the game, because if it's end times like Age of Sigmar, where we're literally talking about 40K apocalypse, you could have the Great Green Wog happening again.
Yep.
You could have the next Black Crusade happening again. I mean, Primarch's coming back.
Yeah, that's
a
huge.
huge deal. Next Tyrannid High Fleet, that possibly a galaxy-spanning High Fleet.
Pretty much everything going to absolute shit across the galaxy.
Holy fuck, what if the fucking Void Dragon awakens and suddenly half the Imperium's in civil war because all of the Adeptus Mechanicus are suddenly like 4 Necrons?
That's going to be tough. Guys, those are some of the rumors we're seeing out there in the 40K universe, and we're pretty excited about what's going to happen. Again, it's probably going to be some kind of shakeup. I mean, we're not going to... With a new edition, you always get some big shakeup.
Yeah,
but this seems like bigger than normal.
Just hope they don't call it 41st Millennium.
Oh gosh, that'd be so weird, right?
Warhammer 41K just sounds
41K is so weird. Guys, well, those are the rumors, so now we're going to be going into our favorite segment, of course, where we talk about how great of generals we are, right?
That's the best generals.
This is our Seasons of the Month, where Andrew and I call out how terrible we were in a previous tournament.
And Jay, go first.
God damn it. All right. So for my Season of the Month, it all kind of comes down to don't put a potential point in danger when you don't need to.
Now, I do remember us, Jay, talking something similar to this of you deep striking your autarch.
Yeah, I seem to be very bad at putting my autarch, who is the HQ unit of my Eldar forces, in danger constantly. I'm like throwing him into just the front of battles because, why not, right? It sounds like a really good strategic idea.
He's a dude and a leader. He's got to be good at things, right?
Yeah, so I've kind of like half learned my lesson with this, and I was like, all right, I'm not going to put my autarch in my Cloud Strike with my Fire Dragons anymore because the Fire Dragons are going near the closest death that's on the table, so that's a bad idea. Instead, I'm going to put him on a jet bike. I'm going to keep him off as long as I can, and then when he comes in, I'm just going to have him fly around the backfield, capture some objectives. He'll be fine. Well, I'm playing a Space Marine player. He's got Grav, he's got Rhinos. I mean...
The
huge. He's got some Scouts. So the game begins, and my Warp Spiders are doing their thing. My Cloud Strike's coming in, blowing up Rhinos. Things are going well, but it's a pretty close fight. Now, my Autarch comes in on his jet bike. He's kind of hanging out in the back, and he's just standing behind a building and capturing an objective, doing his Autarch business. And basically, all of a sudden, some Scouts outflank and come off on one side of the table. Now they're right next to my autarch. Now, they unload into my autarch and actually managed to do a wound on him, and I don't like that one bit, because the autarch is pretty close to death. He only has 2 wounds left, and there's still 5 scouts right there. So I have got, 2 options. The very obvious option anyone's thinking is, well, your autarch is on a jet bike, you can move him 48 inches away. Of course you're going to do that, Jay. Of course you wouldn't just take that autarch and charge him into close combat against a bunch of scouts because you think he'll win. I did the latter. I sent my autarch...
Jay, there's still weapon skill 4, ballistic skill 4, strength 4, toughness 4.
I don't know what I was thinking. Just, you have those moments where you just almost black out and you don't even know what you're doing, where you're like... yeah, they're just scouts, right? It's like, no, these are still superhuman badass scouts.
Yeah, the only difference is they have a 4+ save instead of a 3+.
Yeah, that's the only difference. And my Autarch also has a 4+ save. It's a 4+ invul. Like,
well, he's got a 3+ from the jet bike.
Oh, that's right. He does have a 3+ on the jet bike. That's right. But that's still not helping him that much when there's that many attacks. So he fires. I think he managed to kill one before he charged in, but there's still 4 left. He was fighting him in close combat. He literally got down to 1 wound and almost died. And I think that 1 point literally was the one thing that decided that I think we tied the game. But if I had lost that point, he would have gotten it and would have won. And I would have lost because of some stupid mistake of sending my Warlord in. And I probably made some pretty good saves because statistically, like, there was a very good chance that the Autarch should have died in that combat.
Well, it's funny, Jay, because we literally, after the Fire Dragon Warlord incident, we talked about putting him on a jet bike.
Yeah.
So he could just 48-inch jump everywhere.
Yeah. It was very much specifically like, Jay, you will make sure the Autarch
keep him away.
Keeps far away from combat. And like the first chance I get, I throw him right into death. Why? Why do I do these things to my Autarch?
The Jaws of the Beast. It's because you have the blinders, Jay. You just see kill or be killed, and you just want to murder. You're bloodthirsty.
I do, yeah. My Autarch was probably like, come on, I don't want to just fly around on this bike.
You should just play Corn Demons, man. You'd be right at home.
Maybe I should. Maybe secretly that's...
You need Karn the Betrayer, man. He is like your jam,
He's like, this is kind of my deal. Wow. I'm realizing some new things, people. Next army, Corn Demon Kid. Wow. So that was my Seize of the Month. Andrew, what's your Seize?
So in honor of the Gene Stealer Cult book being released, I used my Nids and the old Gozer Quintus formation, just because I hadn't had the new rules yet, and I didn't want to kind of just rush into things and just hope that... Because I hear there's a lot of new rules. And
there's a lot of new rules. Also, like, one, it takes a while to put all those together, because... they're very low point cost. They're also very expensive.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like... And I tend to rush into things too much.
What? Never.
No. But, I got the book because, that's my first love is Gene Stealers. That was really the first models I ever bought in 40K. And the rules are fantastic. And we talked about it a little bit last month. And the rumors turned out to be true for a lot of it. And they've got some great rules. But I wanted to just kind of like have the last hurrah of my old Nids.
With old Gene Stealer Cult?
With old Gene Stealer Cult, with old Nids, because, potentially they'll get a new book and we'll see what they get.
With the track that we're on right now, that's very, very likely.
And if the Gene Stealer Cult book is any indicator, they could get some serious shit.
Oh, yeah. So your game. How did it go?
Game. So I did something really stupid. I keep forgetting that in general, yes, Flyrants, amazeballs. They always do their job.
They're always good.
A lot of people disregard a lot of their powers, and I've had some serious discussions with people. People really undervalue one power in particular, which is paroxysm.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to preface this. Just in case you remembered, everyone else from 6th edition, everybody thought you couldn't lower a stat below 1. Turns out in 7th edition, they made it the only one you can't is initiative.
Yeah, for good reason.
So paroxysm does something interesting. You can make things ballistic skill 0.
Which means...
they can't shoot.
Hive Tyrants can basically neutralize really strong shooting threats.
So get this. You can hit a Storm Surge unit with paroxysm, and if you get a 2+, 2+ would mean that they can't fight in close combat. They can't even stomp as far as we can tell, because stomp is a type of attack, and it says that if you have weapon skill 0, you cannot make attacks.
Yeah, it's very interesting if you actually can attack with weapon skill 0. Stomp specifically.
Yeah, because it says... it
is a type of attack.
We thought it was just a special rule. It's just you do this and this, but it labels it as a special attack.
Yeah, that's something you guys would have to talk to your TO about, but it's something we think... Look, if your weapon skill 0, you probably can't stomp.
But interestingly enough, if you manage to roll a 5 or a 6 with paroxysm, they're literally worthless. You can just ignore them because they're weapon skill, ballistic skill 0.
So this is a story about everything going well for your paroxysms, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I decided that it was a good idea to attack the things that I make unable to attack.
Oh, okay.
Now, why this is a bad idea? You're thinking in your brain that sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, they can't do anything to fight back.
You hit automatically against them if they're weapon skill 0 and stuff like that. Here's why it's a bad idea. I was going against a very elite army. It had the Riptide Wing in it. But ironically, this was a Riptide Wing with a bunch of Space Marines.
All right.
So they did this.
Look, I don't know why I'm surprised. Riptide Wings are freaking everywhere.
So it was like a more of a Descent of Angels Space Marine list. They actually had, what's that formation? The one that they can drop in and assault the turn.
Is that the Skyhammer formation?
Skyhammer. So they had, it was basically a Skyhammer and a Riptide Wing. Like that was the army. And it was like a maxed out Skyhammer. So this was like, they get in your face super crazy with the Skyhammer while the Riptide Wing just blows everything to pieces.
Makes sense.
Now I managed to, I was running 3 Flyrants with the Leviathan, because why wouldn't you do that? They're just amazing.
You run 3 Flyrants.
So I was running the 3 Flyrants in the Gozar Quintus Broodkin formation. It's still a pretty amazing formation. They all can infiltrate. They all have Shrouded on turn 1. They're all fearless as long as Gozar is alive. Now, that's not Chaos God Gozar, but regular Gosar.
Right, Gosar. Let's clarify.
But it's also great because they get to infiltrate and assault the turn on turn 1 after the infiltrate.
Which is really fun.
That's a big deal. Now, they don't get any of like the deployment manipulation of being closer like the new book gets, but if you have any line of sight block and cover and can be 12 inches away, suddenly all of those 7 to 8 point model acolytes that are fearless with 4 attacks of rending on the charge, being able to be 6 inches away from you and then charge you on the first turn sounds really, really bad.
Really nice.
So I went against this army and I actually had first turn.
Wow.
And I did something really, really stupid. So I decided that I was going to go full bore against his Riptide Wing because that was the only thing deployed on the field because all of the Skyhammer formation was going to be coming in on turn 1.
Right.
Obviously, that's what you do. You
Makes sense.
Keep it as a non-target and then bring them in so they're unimpeded and just go to town. Now, the reason this was a terrible idea was because I managed to use my paroxysms on the Riptides and then put all of my fucking Broodkin guys in the open so that they'd be able to charge, but no protection from the Space Marines coming in.
Right.
So I managed to get all 3 paroxysms off against the...
So the Riptide Wing was nullified.
Well, I rolled badly.
Oh, okay.
Only one couldn't fire. But here's the significant thing, is that one could fire if then the others shoot at something and then it gives itself +1 ballistic skill, and then you get into an argument with your opponent if it's a -3, and that puts them at a -1, but then they're only technically 0, but then they get a +1. How does that work?
Math in Warhammer is frustrating.
But we kept it as it just brings them to 0, and then the +1 happens.
Right, that makes sense.
So they're all shooting poorly, but I decided to really heavily focus to one side and where all of these things were, and Tyranids don't have great shooting other than the Hive Tyrants.
Yeah.
This guy had phenomenal shooting. I mean, he had all the grav cannons and stuff coming in from the Skyhammer formation. He had all of the assault. I mean, even just bolt pistols against Gozar Quintus guys are going to be good.
Yeah, they're still just flimsy, gene-stealery Tyrannid people.
So what he ended up doing is I ended up trying to focus hard on these Riptides when I could have just ran up the Hive Tyrants, kept all of the Broodkin guys in a giant fucking bubble of death on the field. Like, they're all in cover, they all have Shrouded, and the Skyhammer guy will only have limited targets to go through, and he'll have to go through cover to get to them. Like, but instead I put everything in the open trying to kill these Riptides, and I think only one unit made it to close combat.
Oh no.
And didn't win against the Riptide.
Oh no.
And so then everything was in the open, and I shit you not, I lost 2 of my Hive Tyrants.
What?
And 75% of the Gozar Quintus Broodkin in the turn that he came in.
Oh no.
Like, all of my Neophytes died because they got shot by Assault Marines, had no saves, and they got charged and swept. And the only reason, and you're like, how did they get swept? Weren't they fearless? Well, no, because Gozar was by himself with 2 Gene Stealers, and, I mean, they just grabbed him to death. I mean, they just hit him with, like, 30 grav shots, and, I mean...
Turns out grav pretty strong.
And then they charged him and wiped him out. It was basically like, I had the advantage. I could have just disabled his Riptides and ignored them.
Waited for the Space Marines to come in and then counter-assault them.
Yeah, I mean, almost, I think, like, could have paroxysmed all of the Riptides again and just made it so they're doing nothing. That's like 900 points of nothing.
Just sitting there.
Just sitting there.
Ugh.
And just wiped out all the Space Marines and then piecemeal just encircled. I could have even charged him with freaking Hive Tyrants.
Wow. Guys, it seems that sometimes you wait for the rest of the party to get there.
I mean, know your psychic powers and actually be smart about them?
Yeah, that sounds like a good lesson.
I just got really excited. I was like, I hit that one automatically. Holy shit.
This is going to be great.
Yeah. Well, it was not a smart choice. Especially when you don't have guaranteed charge ranges. That was also really dumb. I don't know why I thought I'd be able to charge against all of them. I just got really excited.
Wow. Well, guys, Those are our seasons of the month, and that'll take us to the Brown Library. All right, getting comfy here in the Brown Library, ready to hear some spooky unit stories.
Good to be back, Jay. Or kind of creepy, but okay.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, I guess not really that much creepier than it normally
No,
is.
not normally. And now we have all these festive pumpkin people food.
I mean, I'm not going to eat that, Jay. I mean, it's just
You should. It's
you're eating people's
really good.
children. Those are children.
I think this was probably like a full-grown adult. In fact, I'm sure he was probably mean to somebody at some point.
I mean, whatever helps you sleep at night, I guess.
Oh yeah. This guy was such an asshole.
Well, we're gonna take a flashback to an old data slate. Now, if you remember Halloween a year back, what did we talk about?
What did we talk about a year ago?
Now, last year we did something that was kind of out of character. We had a fan request.
That's right.
And so we didn't end up doing a true Halloween-themed list other than making it sort of Exorcist theme.
You mean I believe Hulu's Eve?
Right, I mispronounced that. It was Hulaween.
Yeah. Halloween is a poor mispronunciation. It's Hulaween.
I'm sorry to any who I have offended.
Yeah, any Hulaween fans out there, we're very sorry.
But this year, the Ghostbusters, that was years back.
True.
It's been a while.
It has.
But this time, we're gonna go to a classic data slate that I love. Now, we got to go horror movies because it's
Hulaween.
I mean, it's grimdark. It's horror all the time, but like this is like fake horror, so it's okay.
Yeah.
I guess. Although it sort of exists in real life, which is what we're going to get to.
All right.
So, we're going to take my classic movie called Hellraiser.
Hellraiser. I remember that data slate. It was some kind of demon with like a lot of pinpricks coming out of his face.
Yeah, I believe they called him Prickface.
Prickface.
Or Prickhead.
Prickhead, Prickface. A classic horror movie character.
So I wanted it to be themed around this data slate, this movie called Hellraiser, because there's actually a faction that's basically them in real life. And I
Wait,
was
what?
like, well, you really think about it, Jay.
I don't know why I'm surprised. I don't know. For a moment there, I was like, wait, what am I thinking? This is the Grimdark.
They're literally lords of torture.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Right there with you.
And manipulation.
Uh-huh.
And so I was like, well, I love Dark Eldar.
Yep.
And Dark Eldar has this really kick-ass torture detachment in their book, their Haemunculus
I
Covenants.
thought you were just going to start with really kick-ass torture. The end. We've experienced it, unfortunately.
So they have this book called the Haemunculus Covens. That's essentially a supplement for Dark Eldar, and most people argue has their best formations.
Oh, yeah.
Because of things like the Corpse Thief Claw.
Which is kind of like the best thing that Dark Eldar have right now.
Yeah, I would feel like the Corpse Thief Claw and the Dark Artisan, the one that it's like the homunculus attached to a Kronos and a Talos paint engine.
And they are impossible to kill.
It's, good fucking luck.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Or the 5 Talos in a single formation, which is the Corpse Thief Claw. We're not going to have either of those.
Ooh.
Because they don't really fit what we're going for here. Now
They're not Hellraiser enough. They're not Prickhead enough.
No, so they actually have a detachment. They have their own detachment called the Covenant Coterie Detachment. Now, what's interesting is everything in the Haemunculus Covens has this ability called Seeker of Torment. Which,
right.
If the detachment is your main detachment, then you get to reroll the Warlord traits for it, which, I mean, we're going for the torture theme here. I mean,
Of course.
You may not know what they were called. They were called cenobites in the Hellraiser
Cenobites
movie.
in that data slate, huh?
In that data slate. But they also have this ability that's so fitting called Freakish Spectacle. Of course.
Of course.
Enemy units within 12 inches of them suffer a -1 penalty to their leadership. Makes sense.
Yeah, they're going to be freaking out.
Torture. Yeah. Makes total fucking sense.
Look, I see a lot of skulls on a daily basis, but this is a step too far.
Now, their detachment is interesting. The reason it intrigued me is because it just uses specifically the homunculus units, meaning homunculi, Urien Rakarth, the big man himself.
Ooh, tell us a little bit about Urien Rakarth, actually.
Okay, Urien Rakarth is one of my favorite characters in the game. Now, he's a psychopath, a raging psychopath. But he's possibly one of, if not the oldest character in 40K.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's almost argued that he could be the oldest character.
He could be the oldest character for one reason, and that reason is he's died a lot.
Just so many times he's died.
So he's apparently perfected the means of resurrection in their vats and stuff, their cloning systems, everything they do to make people, essentially, because they can do that. That's how they make their paint engines and stuff. It's all
clones and mutations.
Biological manipulation and everything. He's even been resurrected when he was a pile of ash.
Jeez.
So he has existed since way before the fall and way before the birth of Slaanesh, but no one really knows how long he's been alive, but he is the torture master. Like, we might call him Prickhead.
I'm sure he'd appreciate it.
So he is, of course, our general. He is there to represent...
He is the Razor of Hell.
He is the Razor of Hell. He is there to bring joy. Joy in the form of chains and torment. Now, why his character even blends further to being perfect, and I mean perfect to represent, we'll call him by his true name, Pinhead.
Oh, Pinhead. You know what that sounds? That sounds more like probably the classic name.
So the reason why he fits as Pinhead, he's not only the Sculptor of Torments, which is so freaking perfect, but he has an item called the Casket of Flensing.
The Casket of Flensing?
Now, I don't know if anybody else is making the immediate jump, but I saw this and I was like, well, that is the cube that summons the cenobites in Hellraiser. That's like renowned for that series, is this puzzle cube. Obviously, that's the Casket of Flensing.
Oh, yeah.
And what that does in the game is he can open it once per game, and it does Assault 2d6 shot, Strength 3, AP 3. And I imagine he opens the cube, and those are the chains with hooks appearing from nowhere and just ripping somebody to pieces.
Jeez, yeah. I mean, it sounds like it.
So he is our general. I mean, he's our leader, of course, because he is Pinhead.
Pinhead, that's right.
Now, one thing they did that's interesting with Urien comparatively to the last book is they did reduce his cost dramatically. He's only 140 points now.
What?
So he used to be 190 points. But he did lose, or they rewrote, one of the coolest pieces of war gear from the old 5th edition Dark Eldar book,
Aww.
which was the clone field.
Yeah.
Do you remember what it used to do?
Wasn't it like you would reduce the amount of wounds you deal?
You roll a d3, and he just ignores that many wounds.
Which is just so good.
Which means against something now, like, say, like a D-wielding Wraith Knight, he could just be like, oh, you only hit and wounded twice? Hey, look, I rolled a 3+, they're gone. Just like
oh, damn it.
Well, that's kind of annoying.
Hit my clones, buddy.
But now they just changed it to a 4+ invulnerable save. Kind of just meh.
Not nearly as good.
Lost a lot of its character. Now, he is toughness 5, and he does have 3 wounds.
Which is awesome for a space elf.
Oh, that's unheard of for a space elf.
Crazy. I mean, to have T4 is like out of the ordinary, but to have T5 is nuts.
Immune to strength 8. Can't be instant death by strength 8.
Pretty nice.
That's fantastic. He has 3 wounds. He has his 4+ invulnerable save. He also has 4+ feel no pain.
Ooh.
And has it will not die.
I mean, I don't know why I'm surprised.
Like,
He's
all
Dark
of those
Eldar.
things
Like,
make
all
sense.
those make sense. He's like the king of the Dark Eldar. Like, he's gonna have a pretty good feel no pain and a pretty good it will
At
not
least the
die.
king of the homunculus covens. Like, he is the homunculus.
Yeah.
Like, he's the guy. Like, you need some flesh crafting, you go to him.
You need a homunculus? I'm the guy. You want some clones? I got you covered.
And of course, like, just like Pinhead himself, all these things make him one of the most resilient characters in the game.
Oh,
He's
for sure.
Hilariously hard to kill, especially if you stick him in his favorite unit, which, well, of course, is in this army, which there's a formation in the Covenant detachment called the Grotesquerie.
Ooh.
Now, I'll jump in and tell you what grotesques are, because they're one of my favorite units in all of pretty much Dark Eldar. I wouldn't say 40k because I don't use them enough, but Dark Eldar have their not perfect flesh crafting things, but their favorite ground troop. Their perfect flesh crafting things would be their Talos paint engines and stuff like
Right.
that. That's like their master.
Now, when we say perfect flesh crafting, we're not talking about, like, these are not perfect physical specimens as far as
No.
beautiful, but perfect is in the sense that they murder the best out there.
I mean, grotesques are called grotesques for a reason.
Pretty much on the nose with the name.
Their sergeants are called aberrations. I mean,
right.
I think that pretty much describes...
They're not really hiding it.
So yeah, like, there's a formation called the Grotesquerie, and what this does is actually pretty amazing. It's part of their, it has the same rules with Fiendish Spectacle and everything, and I should go back and just mention this real quick. All Dark Eldar have their power from pain ability.
Yes.
Well, the Dark Eldar Covenant specific book has their own table, and the table is just... It's just infinitely better than what the normal Dark Eldar
It's like,
have.
this should be the regular table.
Yeah, and the reason it's better is because everything that's Covenant has Feel No Pain just stock. They don't have to wait for it.
Really? And we should let people know if they don't already know what the Power from Pain table is.
Yeah, the Power from Pain table originally was like, first turn they have nothing. Second turn they get a 6+ Feel No Pain, then 5+ Feel No Pain.
They're feeling the pain. They're feeling the excitement of battle.
Yeah, they cause more pain to people, and they literally live and feed off of pain to prevent their souls from being devoured by Slaanesh. So like that, instead of doing the whole soul slin thing, they just cause more pain on more other people.
They're like, we've dug ourselves so deep, like,
let's just dig deeper.
Keep digging. I mean, like, why would we stop?
It's worked this well so far.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much.
But because everybody has Feel No Pain, they don't have that. Instead, they have something that's really powerful them for a lot of reasons. Now, first turn, once again, it gives them nothing. Unless, of course, you have a Haemunculus nearby who gives them +1 to their Power from Pain table.
Makes sense.
Now, Urien's even better. He does a 12-inch bubble of that. That also stacks with the Haemunculus bonus. So if a Haemunculus in a unit is also near Urien Rakarth, they get an automatic +2 on the first turn.
Whoa.
Which, get this is their table. 1 is nothing. First turn, is nothing. Second turn is Fearless. Third turn is Fear and Fearless. Fourth turn is Fear, Fearless, and it will not die.
That's nice.
For 3-wound grotesques, suddenly that becomes important, and all of their special characters.
Oh, for sure.
Then on 5th turn, it's Fear, it will not die, Zealot.
Ooh.
And then on 6+ turn, it's Eternal Warrior.
Wow.
Fear, it will not die, and Zealot. Now keep in mind, with that +2 bonus, that means at 4th turn, they're getting max bonus.
That's pretty awesome.
That's crazy. And especially once Zealot comes into play.
That's what I'm saying. The Zealot is really nice.
That's a jump in power that's crazy strong. I mean, just rerolls on all hits in first round of close combat when you're talking about grotesques. Now, let me tell you what grotesques are like, because they're kind of crazy. They're 3 wounds, toughness 5, strength 5, toughness 5, weapon skill 4, 3 wounds, initiative 4, so they're hitting Simul with Space Marines, and they have 3 attacks base.
And that's why the Zealot is so key, because they're only weapon skill 4.
Yes.
So getting that reroll to hit really helps them, and then strength 5 is making them wound on 3+ or even 2+ against their fellow Eldar brethren.
Oh, it gets worse.
Oh.
They have a close combat weapon and a flesh gauntlet, which means they have 4 attack space, 5 on the charge. They also have Rampage.
Nice.
Which means if they're ever outnumbered, even by 1 model, they get an additional D3 each time they're in combat.
Jeez.
So they can be up to 8 attacks each.
Wow.
Now, the Flesh Gauntlet, you're like, what is that?
Yeah, what is a Flesh Gauntlet?
Well, that's a 4+ poison weapon, but it has something added on top of it. Now, remember, when they have higher strength than the target they're fighting, if you have any poison attacks, that means you're rerolling wounds as well.
That's key.
Powerful. So anything that's T4 or less, they'll be rerolling wounds against. Why this is important is for the Flesh Gauntlet. The Flesh Gauntlet on any wound of a 6 is instant death.
Ooh.
Now, it has no AP value, but you consider that against even something like a Wraith Knight. You get, say, 4 instant death wounds on that. Even 2 failed armor saves means no feel no pain, and could kill the Wraith Knight outright.
Pretty nice.
Crazy strong. So grotesques, this is why they're one of my favorite things. They're so fun. Now they have night vision, which makes no fucking sense because you can give them guns, but they're BS1. Like, you're never going to use it. So it's just like,
why would you do that?
But then again, like, all Dark Eldar just have night vision because they're basically perpetually in darkness. So
that makes sense.
I guess that makes sense. Now, normally people stick them on transports. I'm not doing that. The reason I'm not doing that is because, 1, the cenobites don't have transports, let's be honest.
Yeah.
We got to fit the theme here.
Guys,
people.
Very important.
And cenobites don't take rides. They just appear. Well, how do you make that happen? Well, here's an interesting thing, Jay. The detachment for the Haemunculus Covens, you're required to take 2 elites and 2 HQs. because there's no troops. Like, even the basic racks, which are like the Haemunculus assistants, they're now, once again, T4, which is a luxury for Dark Eldar, or for Eldar in general. They have Feel No Pain base. Great. They only have a 6+ save, but it's like, you're either just going to be taking cover and Feel No Pain, or just going to be taking Feel No Pain saves. I mean, it's never going to work out any other way. But the fact that they'll have Fearless starting turn 2, suddenly, like, them in cover on an objective, like, good fucking luck.
Yeah, you're not going to be forcing them to run anymore.
And we'll get more into what I gave them, because they actually have some hilarious guns. But, okay, so with this detachment, you're required, like I said, to take 2 HQs and 2 elites. Well, you can take up to 4 more HQs.
Whoa!
Which is hilarious.
What?
So you can have up to 6 Haemunculus in a single detachment?
That's insane!
So one of them is obviously Urien.
Yep.
Then we actually only have 3 extra. Why is this? Because the Grotesquerie formation also requires you to take 1.
Okay.
All of the homunculi in the army are armed the same way, and this is why you don't need a transport. They all have webway portals.
Webway portals are the best!
No scatter deep strike anywhere on the board.
And when you're a cenobite, I guess you just appear wherever you want.
Yeah, you just appear. The box is opened. You're just, the world is your oyster.
Ooh.
I mean, you're just there to deliver the pain. It's just, whoop, I'm an inch from you. I hope you have a way to deal with that, because each unit of Grotesques has 7 models.
Oh, God.
That is 21 wounds.
That's so many.
With Feel No Pain and Fearless, because obviously they'll have homunculi attached to them, which means they are turn 1 Fearless.
Jeez.
In the board. And then the reason you take the Grotesquerie is because they also get access to this table, because these are supposed to be, it's called Latest Experiments. Originally, this was like the Urien Rakarth formation. He could just turn a unit of Grotesques into being these super Grotesques. Well, they get this D6 table, and pretty much all of them are good.
Awesome.
But I'll read them to you. You roll a 1, you get +1 strength.
Ah.
Great.
Not bad.
You roll a 2, +1 toughness. Amazing.
Also, just as good, if not better.
2 is my favorite because it makes you immune to strength 10.
Ooh,
which
that's
means
true.
you can go into those strength 10 power fist units and still be getting Feel No Pain for days.
That is nice.
That's crazy. 3 gives them fleet.
Ooh.
Fantastic.
Hey, for a unit that wants to get into close combat, that is very nice to have.
Well, especially because the homunculi are like normal elves, they have fleet, but obviously if they're attached to them, they can't use it because they're not all fleet. Suddenly now they're all fleet. Big deal. That actually makes it possible to start them on the board as well.
That's true. Yeah, that makes sense.
A reroll to your runs and a reroll to charges, and because there's so many T5 models and everything, it's like, good luck getting through all of that, especially if you don't have ignore cover. Like, good luck.
Yep.
Then the next one is Shred, which most of the time you're going to be... That's probably the worst one, because most of the time you're going to be getting rerolls to your wounds anyway, unless you're against, like, bikes or monstrous creatures.
True, I guess that makes sense. Although, against, like, you know, if you happen to be going against, like, a big super heavy, where you're not going to get your rerolls typically, that can be really helpful.
Yeah, I mean, like, that against... Suddenly, then, like, you're, like, that against a Wraith Knight, and you're like, okay,
right,
I mean, like...
feeling pretty good about this.
Or against something like a Storm Surge or something, then you're like, all right, you know, Shred's... That's not bad, especially when it allows me to reroll and possibly get more 6s for instant death wounds. I mean,
true,
like,
but you're right. Against most normal infantry units, it's not going to be necessary.
Not as necessary. Then the number 5 is Rage, which...
just awesome.
Always a good thing to have. Becomes irrelevant once they get Zealot, but okay.
Still.
And then the number 6 is their Feel No Pain becomes a 4+.
Which is... that is the creme de la creme.
So nice.
Ooh.
So like I said, both those units of 7 Grotesques, you roll once and then it applies to both of them, but they're basically all good.
Yeah, either way you're going to get something awesome.
So, I mean, like, especially, oh my god, I can imagine the look on an Eldar's player's face if you get the +1 toughness and he's 4+ing to wound you with scatter lasers, like...
This never happens!
Yeah, like, that sounds crazy.
As an Eldar player, I can tell you, that would be frustrating.
So that's really nice. Now, the racks themselves. Now, only 2 of the units of racks will actually have accompanied homunculi. Now, why did I do this? 1 was points, obviously.
Right.
We're fitting this into 1850 to be the normal meta competitive level. Cool. The reason why it actually works tactically, though, is because you're going to want to have 2 units of 10 racks. It's 4 units of 10 racks. Mm-hmm. You're going to want to have 2 at home to keep your home field objectives. Why is this more important? Because they can sit and cover. They have 5+ Feel No Pain until later in the game. And they also have Fearless starting turn 2.
Yeah,
like, good luck getting them off an objective.
Exactly.
I mean, they're always going to be getting a save unless you're hitting them with strength 8. You can also hide them, but here's what's really great about them. They get access to one of the most underused. I think I've actually never seen it used in any Dark Eldar army.
Ooh.
It's a gun called an Ossifactor.
That's an awesome name.
Now, what does Ossa make you think of?
Bones? Stuff with bones?
You've got it. What an Ossifactor does is the most cenobite torture-y thing. Just imagine it literally makes a person, all of their bones in their body, expand and grow in an uncontrollable rate.
Oh no!
So
that's
this is
oh god, that's horrifying.
So this is it's only strength 1, but it has Fleshbane, which means it's even a threat to things like Wraith Knights.
Wow.
It's AP 2.
If it's made of Wraithbone, what does that have? I guess its Wraithbone just grows pretty crazy. You'd have like a Chaos Wraith Knight.
Yeah,
it
I
would
was
look
like,
a
it just
Chaos
starts.
Knight.
It would look like a Nurgle Knight.
Yeah, basically. Interesting.
It's AP 2, amazing.
Oh god.
And it's a 24-inch range, also great. It's only one shot, sure. They're BS4, that you only get like 1 or 2 shots a turn. That's fine. Here's where it really comes into play. They have a rule called Calcific Spears. If a non-vehicle model is removed as a casualty due to an unsaved wound caused by this weapon, that model's unit immediately suffers D6 additional hits.
That's super funny.
These hits are randomly allocated and have the ignores cover special rule.
So it's like the bones shoot out of their body like
they literally explode.
That's crazy.
It kills a person and makes them into bone shrapnel.
What?
And get this. It not only ignores cover, but the strength of the hit is equal to the toughness of the thing you killed, which means you're almost always 4+ing against whatever you hit.
That's pretty cool.
Now, most people would be like, this army couldn't do anything against, say, Craftworld Eldar. Here's where I beg to differ. One, the guns having 24-inch range means that anywhere 2 deep striking units, 2 home field units, anywhere that grab bike, or bikes are on the board, not grab bikes, anywhere that...
Whoa, don't say that.
Yeah.
That sounds like the ultimate of end times. We were talking about end times. Grav scat bikes is just, oh my goodness.
We'll go there.
Oh.
Retract.
Nightmares.
Retract.
Nightmares.
Anywhere that scat bikes are on the board can potentially be threatened by these things. Very important. You could think, well, they could go for backfield objective. If they do, they're probably not going to kill the racks of whatever they're holding. And if they're in any 30-inch bubble, remember, because you have your move and then your shot because it's an assault weapon, and they're always going to be jinking against this.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you jink, you get no save, and then you explode and potentially kill the rest of the bikes.
Yeah, you want to be jinking against this.
Because that's the advantage of this, specifically in the normal meta right now, is most of the time it's MSU. It's multiple small units. Because it's a D6 number of attacks, it doesn't even matter if it's 2 guys. You could still get 6 hits on that last dude.
Which is brutal, and you're 4+ing every time. But usually how units work, your toughness is going to be the same as everybody else. It's going to be a 4+.
Like, that is lethal. And a lot of armies...
And hilarious.
And super Hellraiser-y.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, every single unit of these 10 racks have 2 Ossifactors. So there's 8 Ossifactors in the army. And the best part about this is because 2 have no Scatter Deep Strike, they threaten any unit on the board with these guns. You can't get away. Oof. You cannot get away. So that's amazing. And then also, remember, these are also doing a -1 leadership bubble to anything within 12 inches.
That's right.
So then, suddenly against Craftworld Eldar, you're like, your bikes are now LD7.
You guys are going to run.
I have Fleshbane, and I can make you explode, and I'm AP2.
Hope you don't run off the table.
It's like, oh, I only wounded you once. Well, you have a 4+ save. I hope you make it, because otherwise you're probably fleeing.
Yeah, I played with scat bikes plenty of times, and I can tell you they would probably cut and run.
That's the best part about this, is even those guns against MSU Marines, like, say, deep striking, potting Marines.
Yeah.
The Marines, unless they have the Hunter's Eye, which,
Right.
I mean, who's going to be firing Grab Hunter's Eye at a bunch of racks?
Unfortunate if you have to.
I mean, that's a sad set of circumstances. I mean, that's the other thing.
Either things are going really well or really badly.
Here's the thing I forgot to mention. The best armor save in the army is like a 5+, so the army is basically immune to grav.
Which is nice.
Which
if you
is
can be immune to
amazing.
grav in any way in this game, it's nice.
But then combat squatting Marines is actually now scary, because if you take 1 or 2 wounds from these things, that's the best part. If both of them hit, both of them wound, and both of them kill models, that's 2d6 wounds against the unit. Like, imagine
so
that.
many bone explosions.
And we've done like some test rolls and everything. Like, me and a buddy did test rolls, and a 10-man Space Marine squad, on average, if both of them wounded and they didn't get saves, is losing an additional 4 guys.
Well, it's AP2, so they're probably not going to get saves.
No. So it's like...
Wow.
Imagine that at 2 shots, killing 6 Marines.
That's hilarious.
It's hilarious. I love it.
Wow.
So that's the army.
The Cenobite Torture Revenge. So what is the name of this army? I feel like I could guess, but what is the name?
What do you think it's called?
Hellraiser?
It's called Hellraiser.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. What a great way to celebrate Hulaween.
Hulaween.
And eat these pumpkin people with a
Hellraiser.
story about Hellraiser.
About people causing pain and torment and will rip your souls apart and stuff like that.
Yeah, it really, brings the holiday spirit around.
Obviously.
Well, guys, we wish you all a happy Hulaween. And we hope you also can enjoy some delicious pumpkin people. They are delicious. Guys, that was episode 28 of Roll to Seize. We'll be posting a new episode of this segment every last Wednesday of the month, with episodes of Dark Heresy the first and second Wednesday, and 40K Arena every third Wednesday. And if you'd like to download more episodes or check out other similar podcasts, head over to partialarc.com, and you can email us any questions at rolltoseize@gmail.com, or chat with us on dakadaka.com and help decide the next Brown Library segment. Search for fluffy/underrated units in the 40K general discussion forums. Of course, you can always follow us on Twitter and Instagram for tournament and model picks at partialarc. Thanks for listening, and your fun fact for this month is...
How ironic does it have to be that you live in a universe where tortured demons from another dimension is a normal thing?
Yeah, it is real brutal. You know what I can tell you isn't brutal? These delicious pumpkin people.
You are just that pumpkin cannibal
so
over
good.
here.
It's just so good.